What resources are going to make history stick for our students? That is exactly what we're talking about in today's video. I'll also be sharing some tried and tested multimedia resources that you have to check out. Hello, historian, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Cecilia Tamez, your history teacher mentor, and I'm here to make sure that you feel confident and effective as you facilitate learning in your classroom. Now, for those of you that watched my prior video, then you know that this video is actually part of a little mini series. So do me a favor. If you haven't already, be sure at the end of this video to go and peep my playlist on history teaching resources and check out video number 1. Also, disclaimer, don't forget to stay until the end of the video so you know exactly what history resources we'll be talking about next week. So if you're stoked to learn about some history teaching resources, be sure to show this channel some love. All you have to do is hit the like button and make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you do need additional resources for your classroom, be sure to check out my website, thegameplanedusolutions.com. Let's talk history resources. So the first history teaching resource that I'm going to share with you is a program called Ignite Learning. And this was a program that I used early on in my career. I have mentioned in previous videos, I actually started off as a Texas studies or Texas history teacher. What was helpful to me at that point, even as a beginner teacher, I liked that these videos were explainer videos, but they weren't as simplistic as something like Brain Pop. Like Brain Pop, however, Ignite Learning was a combination of songs, handouts, and activities that were overall easy to follow, and it helped me create some sort of sequence because I had no curriculum my first year teaching. It helped me create some sort of sequence as to what order I needed to teach the lessons. There are some limits to the topics that are covered. I don't know about it now because I haven't used the resource in a while. If your campus or department chooses to use this resource, I would ask for some sort of trial just to verify that the specific topics that you're looking for your history content topic will actually be available to you. Another favorite history teaching resource that I absolutely loved was, vocabulary. So this particular platform has a very unique take on teaching historical information, and essentially historical events inspire the lyrics for these songs that are presented. So they're kind of like music videos, but they are arranged to some seriously catchy beats. Okay, and just between us, like on any given day, you could totally catch me dancing around during my conference period to these songs. No shame. Now, I'll be frank, they don't have songs for everything, but their library is quite expansive, covering a variety of history courses and extensive time periods as well. Now, I think I've totally made clear that I dig the jams, okay? But another feature that I really like about the site is the fact that they include the lyrics, which is great because it allows us to scaffold for different student populations, and also that they include a couple of pre-made handouts. The downside, not all of your students are going to be into rap music because that is the predominant genre of music for most of these videos. So if you know your students well and you feel like they're not gonna mind rapping to history lyrics, this might be a good option for you. The next history teaching resource that I just have to share because your non-musical students will appreciate this is a site called Educational Portal. So Educational Portal is a little bit like Khan's Academy, and John Green is great and all, but I feel like these explainer videos are a little bit more simplistic and age appropriate, whether it be for middle school students or maybe high school students that need the topic presented a little bit more simplistic just so that they get the gist of it. So it's a great differentiation tool, and overall information is presented in a cohesive, easily comprehensible sequence. Now, if your students were anything like mine, you know that our students nowadays, and even us sometimes, we have the attention span of a squirrel, right? And so one of the downsides to Educational Portal is the videos are a little bit lengthy and the narration is definitely no Morgan Freeman. However, segments of these videos were great for direct instruction, for reteach, or to send to students who were absent and didn't get to hear you teach the lesson. So I do have to share my least favorite history teaching resource because, believe it or not, it does have a time and a place. And of course, I'm talking about BrainPop. Okay, so the downside. BrainPop is probably one of the most boring, monotone, non-musical explainer videos out there. But these videos get right to the point. They are aligned to standards, and they're also great at breaking down complex information in very simple terms. So BrainPop is just one of those tools that is fantastic for students that need just a little bit more processing time and the content simplified down to its basic bare bones structure. These types of videos are videos that I might use as enrichment practice or for tutoring sessions, or if I had a student that was absent that I knew needed the content presented in a more simplistic way, this might be a video resource that I would send to that student. And just so that you all know that I'm not being biased, I will give BrainPop some extra cool points because they actually have closed captioning on their videos, and some of these videos you can even play them in other languages so that students can use them to guide their understanding of what they're watching and listening to. So good job, BrainPop. Okay, so I gotta know, are your students for music, or would they just tell you that you're being cringe by teaching them history with songs? Let me know in the comments below. So of course, one of my #1 history teaching resources, undeniably, is going to be YouTube. So first of all, let's talk about the search engine that facilitates you finding a video, a multimedia resource that is age appropriate and right for your class. I also try to make sure that they are aligned to my state standards, and also that there's some sort of sequence so that it doesn't confuse my students. And I usually like to play some of these resources that I find on YouTube at the beginning of the unit just to provide like a quick overview for my students. I also really like the fact that we can make it a little bit more student friendly by turning on captions, although sometimes that may not be a good thing. Now, the other reason why I like using YouTube as a history teaching resource is because sometimes we don't have the time, the copyright, or the ability to show every scene from some really great history movies. So, of course, just between us, if you poke around enough, you will find some clips, short clips, that are edited specifically for a student audience. Now, another reason why YouTube rocks as a history teaching resource is because there are some downright amazing history teachers on the platform already. And some of my personal favorites were always like Mr. Betts, Heimler's History, Mr. Striplin, Hip Hughes, and History with Miss H, just to name a few. So this next history teaching resource amuses me so much, and I gotta tell you, for some reason, it has some really like 90s throwback vibes, but I'm talking about Smart Songs. So Smart Songs has definitely some vocabulary vibes to it. I would say if you're teaching an older student audience, I would probably go with Smart Songs. The other thing is I feel like their content covers a lot more high school geared topics. Plus, I also like that they teach a little bit more challenging topics like economics, like government. Definitely a fan. Now, if you haven't looked into interactive museum websites as a history teaching resource, you might want to do a quick double take on that. So I actually came from a school district where we were not really allotted a budget for field trips. And in order to provide my students an experience where they get to immerse themselves in a historical exhibit, I sometimes searched up virtual museum exhibits or constructed one based off of information that was provided by museums. And what I love about these sites is that sometimes they offer teachers completely free resources that they will send to you to your classroom and that you can use to sort of recreate this exhibit within your own classroom. The other thing about museums is that sometimes they highlight slightly more obscure historical figures that you can literally use as a character in order to teach a historical time period or event so your students can kind of follow along with this character on this journey. It's a lot more relatable and relevant to your students if they feel connected to someone who lived through that event. Also, bonus tip, sometimes these museums actually have their own YouTube channel, and they might actually house multimedia there that they don't house on their sites. So that's also something worth checking out and searching up on YouTube. So the next history teaching resource that I'm going to recommend is, of course, Khan Academy. Now, Khan Academy has a very edu-creations vibe to it. It's also very similar to Educational Portal. However, I can tell you right now, just based on what I've seen, I can tell you that Khan Academy is more so optimally organized for teachers. This particular resource has a combination of multimedia, practice questions, and topic summaries, which I think would be very helpful in order to generate some further practice questions. I also think this would be a great tool for teaching students that maybe were absent, or as a differentiation tool for classroom instruction. So I personally think that this is a great resource for teachers who maybe don't have a curriculum, need help organizing their chronological history course, or just to be honest, maybe need a quick refresher on the content. If you enjoyed this video and you're ready to do whatever it takes to make it stick, comment below, make history stick, so that I know that you stuck with me to the end of the video, you found value in what I shared today, and you'd like to know more about history teaching resources. Also, don't forget to stick around for the next video in our mini-series where we'll be talking about books for teaching history. Don't forget to stop by thegameplaneduSolutions.com, where you can find materials, support, and opportunities to work with me one-on-one. I want your success. I'm rooting for you. Until next time, class dismissed.